Oh, this is going to be a fun one. Our big interview, joined by the great Kevin Windham. Always insightful, but we haven't talked to him in a while, so we got a lot of ground to cover. But first, we have to talk about the recent news. You're nominated now for the AMA Hall of Fame, so congrats on that. This is starting to come around more and more for motocross, supercross guys. Is this something you've been thinking about for a while, or did this surprise you to even hear about this? Was it on your radar?
Well, it did surprise me a little bit, but thank you for everyone who was involved in the nomination process. Still got keep our fingers crossed that the votes go the way that I hope they do, and to be selected and inducted into the Hall of Fame would be an honor that would be the cake topper for sure. You know, my career was special in a lot of ways. It's special in the fact also that I got a lot of seconds, which doesn't typically get you into the Hall of Fame. But you know, the length of my career, winning against the competitors that I raced against throughout my entire career, the transfers, the fan interactions and stuff, I feel like, and I hope that I made a big enough impact on the sport to take this thing to the finish line. But just the nomination in itself is something I'm so proud of and honored. And like I said, I'm really keeping my fingers crossed, and this would be a great honor. And we'll just see how it turns out here in a couple of months.
I'm sure there are things you would have done differently, right? That's true for everyone. But you have this opportunity. You're training these kids that are up and coming. You know, some of them are hoping to kind of go down the same path that you went down. Are there things that you learned from back then, even the things you're talking about now, those bad days that cost you championships, you feel, are there things that you can now teach these younger kids about the good days and the bad days that they can maybe use along the line? Because that's what in my own racing now, I'm like, man, it was right in front of me. Like, this was a really obvious change I should have made, but at the time I just didn't get it, didn't see it. Now you have the opportunity to help so many people to avoid those pitfalls.
I feel like I do have that ability, and you know, I enjoy working with them. I'm lucky to have you know, facility here at the house, so I'm able to, you know, support my kids as they're actually getting a lot older now, so not too many kids in the house anymore. But having them in my backyard and training them in a way where I can, you know, like, I'm not scared to talk about my faults, and I think that's where a lot of these guys can get their strengths. I've had some amazing successes. I've had you know, some tremendous failures. I coach them on both sides of that. And you know, it's a tough game, and it's not always the best rider who wins. It's, you know, watching the mental game that's being played, you know, with Levi and Deegan right now, and Deegan asking him questions at a post-race press conference, and, you know, trying to dab it up, and, you know, convincing that he's friends, and taking low blows about his fitness and things like that. It is a mentally tough game. You know, every era has a rider that's, you know, kind of pushes those buttons. I think our sport needs that person. I think the competitors need to understand how to you know, adapt and react to those kinds of things. But for me specifically, yeah, I'm not scared to touch on my failures, and I think that's how I can help these up and comers be stronger.
I feel like you're one of the few that can kind of have the perspective that Sexton has probably had for the last year, right? He's riding really well. He just can't crack this one piece. And we mentioned the names that you had to try to do it to. And then on your day, you would break through. So what? It's hard for you to say what he's thinking, but what is it like for you on those days where you do break through and you're like, this is what I've been chasing, and now I got it. Now I got it right where I want it. What do you think that feeling is like, or what was it like when you got there?
So for me, you know, it's like you're doing the work, and you believe that you can make it, and you believe that you can win, and you get to the first turn and you're not in that perfect spot, and you don't, or you go into turn 2 and you tip over, or you got a 7th place start and Ricky's out front. For me specifically, talking about RC, it's almost like the whole weekend's done because that perfect thing didn't line up, and now I can't do it. And you know, Ricky was in a position where things didn't have to, I mean, he was just better. So things didn't have to be perfectly aligned for him to get up there and win. And I think you're seeing that with Jet, where things don't have to be perfect. And for some of the other guys, maybe it has to be perfect. Maybe it has to be that start. Maybe it has to be the right laps to throw down the heaters, the heater laps, you know, man, I came into lappers at the perfect spot and could get through them and whatnot. So for me, it was just like perfection had to be applied, and that when it didn't happen within the first whatever of the first moto, the first certain amount of minutes of the first moto, you're like, oh, okay, well, another second for this weekend, or another third, or hey, I got a podium at least, or whatever. So, I think that was the biggest thing, is just needing everything to be perfect. And Sexton this weekend, other than Goliath had his issues and kind of went down. Sexton didn't have that perfect weekend, but he made it perfect from just hard work and focused and belief. Now, the question that comes into my mind is, was that solely from Jet's position? Was that the one thing that sent him into a whole different realm? I mean, it's something that we've never seen happen. Could that have ride been done had Jet been out front and he said, okay, well, I'm just coming to second? Would he still have had the same ride? And time will tell. We'll see next weekend.
Well, this is awesome, as we expected. We could probably go for hours. So come out to a race. Don't be a stranger. Let's chat again sometime, okay?
Thank you, Weege. I appreciate it.
Okay, as we wrap this show up, one more reminder of how to watch the next round of the Super Motocross World Championship this weekend, Thunder Valley in Colorado, outside of Denver. First, come join us in person. A very underrated round, a really fun place to hang out, and the track usually lends itself to some good racing as well. We'll have qualifying coverage as always. That's Race Day Live, presented by motorsport.com. That'll be at noon Eastern. And then Peacock and SMX Video Pass, as always, is the place to watch that and all the motos live and our post-race show live. And that'll start at 3 o'clock Eastern and continue past 7 o'clock Eastern time. If you want to watch all the racing, 450s will race first. They'll race their first motos and second motos first this weekend. 250s will go second. And we also want to mention again that NBC window. That will be the second 450 moto and the first 250 moto, and that'll happen at 4 o'clock Eastern time. So tell your friends, check it out on NBC for 2 hours on a Saturday afternoon, or just watch everything on Peacock or SMX Video Pass. JT, I don't know if we're going to have another race with this level of anticipation and drama coming in maybe all year. This is a fantastic setup, especially to have some coverage on NBC Live.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.